When I heard this from my client, I wish I wasn't a white woman, I almost fell out. She said, I wish I wasn't a white woman, then people would take me seriously when I advocate. And I called, wait, hold on, wait, we got to talk about this. Tune in, hear about my client's story, and hear how she's rising now as the quiet change maker. You are going to want to listen to this. So, as you all know, I am your authentic power strategist, and I'm all about authenticity. I'm all about helping women understand that they have a specific assignment, that it's their job to figure it out, and that they are equipped to do everything that they need to do with what it is that they have. They don't have to fix anything. They just have to see a new way forward. And that's exactly what I saw with my client, Shar Katzner. Now, let me take you back to when I was doing consulting. I was hired at her company to be a consultant in teaching leadership development. Everything from anything in the area of leadership, humility, authenticity, at the time at that time in this company, diversity, equity, and inclusion was a virtuous thing to do. We won't talk about what people think about that today, but I still 100%, now more than ever, believe that we all need to live with diversity, equity, and inclusion for the very reason that my client, who was a white woman, was feeling that she wished she wasn't. And it's because we had the wrong terminology related to diversity, equity, inclusion. Diversity is everyone. It doesn't exclude white women. And that's exactly what my client Shar was feeling. So, in my trainings, I was required to do one on one coaching with their leaders. And in fact, this company was small enough that they were targeting various people within the organization to take on deeper leadership roles. And one of them was my client, who's now my client, Shar Katzner. So Shar and I, we first met, which is what I was doing with all of my individual business coaching clients, is we would talk a lot about what it is that their values were, what are their dreams, what are their aspirations, where do they see themselves, and what vision do they keep like having in their mind that they've put aside, in working in their corporate role. Because once we tap into what it is that lights you up, we can go from there. It doesn't matter the how or the when, it's the what is inside of you and why do you feel that way that we began to work on. And when she first told me, Diana, I wish I wasn't a white woman, because if I wasn't white, people would take me seriously in my advocacy. It made me go, what the hell? What? I'd never heard anyone say that they wish they weren't a white woman. And so that intrigued me. But then I started to take a deeper look and I began to realize Shar and I, her name is Charlene Katzner, and I call her, Shar for short. People do. I'm not the only one. She said, when she said that, it made me go, wait, I can relate to this. I can relate to this because at the time it was about, I think it was the end of 2018, beginning of 2019. This is way before 2020. I think it was 2019. And when she said this, I knew what she felt because at the time we were going through a lot of people dealing with issues of police stops, and Black Lives Matter was just coming on the scene more visibly. It had always been on the scene, but more visibly in social circles. And there was this idea that there were these white women who they were calling Karens, people who were screaming out and using what they would say their white privilege to make them seem like they were more credible than Black people. And the problem with that is, and stereotypically and or probably actually that was happening. But that also didn't mean that all white people were fragile or Karens. But unfortunately, when it's said enough, you begin to believe that. Just like it was for Black people, who we were told years ago that, oh, we were lazy, we were loud, we didn't follow through in all these narratives that just weren't true. And so you had a lot of Black people saying, I just wish I wasn't Black, because if I was white, people would take me seriously. You see these labels that we put on ourselves, and we begin to believe that narrative. And so, therefore, we look at our current circumstances and we look at us as being horrible people, that we don't have what it takes to be able to do amazing work in this world. And it's a lie. It's all a lie. Until you begin to realize that there is an inner truth that was put into you upon birth. It's your birthright. No human can take it away. No label, being male or female, or if you choose not to identify as either, your skin color, whether what hue you are, whether you are dark, you're light, your culture, because let's just keep this real. In certain cultures, various people put down people because of their hue, whether they're too white or too dark, from what country you're from. It does not matter. No one can take away your purpose. No human being on earth can take away your purpose, because your soul was designed by the Creator to give you life and abundantly. And until you stop following the patterns of this world, will you begin to feel like you actually have purpose. And that is the problem, because we bought into the lie. You have decided to look at other people and other circumstances and say, well, I just can't be that. But I bet you, if you turned all of that off, if you turned social media off, you turned off all of these other influences, you began to shut down the influences of your family, of your culture, you would begin to gain a different perspective. You would start to feel differently about your life. You would start to trust something that you cannot see. You will begin to do what it is that Shar did. You see, because on my watch, you are not going to believe that you are less than. And it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter your race. It doesn't matter your gender. It doesn't matter what your belief system is. The only belief system I need you to know is that you are valued, you are worthy, and you have a purpose. That's the belief system I need you to have. Beyond that, that's not of concern. Once we get that straight and you begin to harmonize your inner knowing with the truth that is within you, we can do amazing things. And Shar said, I said, Shar, trust me? Do you trust me? Now, of course, I'm pretty much so out there. It takes a minute for people to go, I guess she's real, right? Yes, I'm real. And yes, I've done my research. Yes, I've done my homework. Yes, I've traveled the country. Yes, I have invested in myself very deeply to let you know that it's possible. I can't guarantee you that you're going to stay the same, because you're not. Shar did not. What she did was she dove into the academy. She dove into what's called our Rise Advocates Academy. She went in full. And at the time when I first started the Rise Advocates Academy, it was 2020. I was still kind of dealing with a little bit of dissonance, meaning that I was feeling like I knew myself that I had this big vision of getting all these women to understand everything I taught, but I wasn't believing that anyone was out there that was going to listen. And so when I came out guns a-blazing with my Rise Advocates Academy, I had these group of women who were like attracted to me in my first cohort, and it was actually called Pivot and Rise Mastermind. And I did not have like the entire academy buttoned up. You know, I still had some research to do, but I just came out and the women were coming in and they were crying, and there was all of this amazing things, crying because they were like, oh my gosh, this new way is amazing. And of course, we were all home. It was COVID, and I went through a really difficult time at the time. I went through my own dark night of the soul. But Shar, she took it all in. And she was so sold into what we were teaching that she said, I want more. And I said, oh my gosh, it's true. And not only just for Shar, but for some other folks like Sarah Best, Crystal Darnell. I had Rhonda Jemison in the cohort at the time. And we began to see this new way forward. Now, since then, since the Pivot and Rise Mastermind and Shar going through the academy, Shar and I stayed together. We did coaching together. We did webinars together. We did some more sessions together. And she stayed connected with me through all the coaching, through all the different layers of life. And I will tell you that she has just quantifiably changed her life. I mean, everything. She switched jobs. She started speaking up in meetings. Her boss asked her, wow, something's changed about you. And she said, yes, I've gone through the Rise Advocates Academy and I've been doing coaching with Diana. That began to change. Then she started seeing things that were not right on her job and she started speaking up about them. She started to live what I call the Rise Advocates Manifesto. And she was just being a change in her own four corners. And she also had this desire, she was writing her weekly blog. She was talking about her truth. She was sharing her truth with her family. She got remarried to her new love of her life, who she's happily married now. And she decided that she wanted to ask for a raise. She asked for it. Company didn't match it. She decided that she wanted to go to this other company. They matched her salary. And then from there, she went back to her company after some time and they matched the salary that she went back to. And she stayed for a bit of time, but then she realized that there was another company calling her name. And she then went back out to this other company and they have accepted all of her and her advocacy. And we've been working on Shar's brand. And her new brand is called Quiet Changemaker. You see, because she decided that I'm going to accept all of me. She said, I'm going to accept not only who I am and what I stand for, but just my way of living. She's an introvert. She loves being an introvert. And she's very good at what she does in her work, but then also her advocacy. So Shar has changed her brand. Shar Katzner is now the Quiet Changemaker. And she has a presentation that she has presented to her company. Her company has accepted it. And she actually even talked about it in a conference at her company. And her CEO went on stage to say, let's all do what Shar told us to do. And the tagline, do the next right thing. Since Shar and I have been working together, she not only has changed her entire brand, she's changed the way that she's just like uprooted the way in which her generational legacy is going to be and got it on the right path and doing the next right thing. She's increased her salary upwards of 46%. She's now the president of the League of Women Voters and has the desire to take on more of a role. And she's even considering doing a TEDx talk called Quiet Changemaker. Can we all stop and give Shar Katzner a round of applause? Yes, the crowd goes wild because once you work with someone who sees the value in you and you begin to invest in yourself, that you have everything that you need, and you shut down all the stupid lies that say you're less than, you become unstoppable. You become like Shar Katzner and you become your own change maker, however way you want to call it. Quiet change maker, loud change maker, soft change maker, whatever you are the difference. You are the shift. You are the change maker. And so I got to ask you, is this something that you want? Because we can all do the next right thing. So I want to issue a challenge to you. What narratives have you been believing about yourself? Like, list them out. List all the narratives about you that you believe are a hangup. And then what I want you to do is I want you to dive deeper and see, oh my gosh, have I been saying that those are all my hangups when they are actually my strength? How can you turn those what you see as negative into your superpowers. Those things that people look at you and go, yes, I don't know who she thinks she is, or people that have put you down your whole entire life, and you've begun to realize that that was your superpower all along. And I want you to identify that, right? I want you to identify that. And then I want you to actually be grateful for it. One of the things that Shar has seen me consistently do since the time I've been doing, coaching, and it's way before I even did my leadership development coaching. And in the mid 2000s, I was always talking about nutrition and health and wellness, which is why I combine the two now. And I'm going to have a call to action for you at the end to tell you a little bit more about this. But when you become unstoppable, you feel you want to get healthy, because when you're not healthy, you do not see a positive way forward because you're tired and you're sick and you're feeling like you just want to go to bed. But one of the things that I have come to realize is when you have a life that's filled with gratitude, gratitude for everything. And I'm guaranteeing you that, see, like talking about what you're grateful for and looking at your life and seeing all the things that are good about it, that changes everything. And it makes you want to live with a deeper sense of purpose and a healthy lifestyle. And so you start grabbing for things that are healthy. You start living with the healthy mindset. You start living with this feeling of abundance, that everything is coming to you for a reason and it's for your good. So these are the things that we worked on with Shar, right? She began to look at the things that were like listed out, all the things she just thought was negative, right? Then she started looking at it as, oh my gosh, these are my superpowers. And then she started being grateful. And then she started changing her whole outlook on life. Her whole entire perspective changed. And her wealth increased exponentially, from her family to her health to her pocketbook, her bank account, and her investments. Isn't that something that you want? And that's why I want to offer the same to you. It would be a crime if I didn't tell you how you could have this for yourself. And here's how you can do it. First, we have what's called Hotter at 53 events. These Hotter at 53 events are there to talk to you about menopause, because the women that we deal with, these are high level, VP level outlier women who are working in companies like Shar, right? You don't have to be loud. You don't have to be an attorney like me, but you just know there's something more, and you're a little contrarian in the way you think. If so, this Hotter at 53 event is what you want, because we're going to get you healthy. We know a lot of women between the ages of 45 and up are dealing with menopausal symptoms, and it could be a mother. Okay. It can really rip you apart. We want you to get well. So we have these Hotter at 53 events to give you the first layer of what we're talking about within our Rise Advocates Academy and in our movement. So you're going to want to sign up for one of those events. We do them virtually and in person. The virtual event is just as good. Well, maybe not just as good, but it's good that it is in person. So that's one way that you can get within our movement. The second way is get yourself on our newsletter list. Just get in our ecosystem, get in our community, and you can start doing that. And you can take it a step further. Not only can you be on our newsletter list, you can actually be within our community that allows you to learn even more about what we do. The third thing is we have what's called our Authenticity Code series, where it's just a free way that you can learn about being more authentic, because we believe the more authentic you are, the more powerful you are, and the more you own your story and the way in which you decide to write the future chapters. Sound good to you? Let's get yourself into being that change maker. And again, Shar, thank you for being the quiet change maker and for letting us know that we can all do the next right thing. And that's what I want to leave with you. What is the next right thing that you will do for you? We've given you some options. Now it's for you to take the next step. We'll see you in the next video.